7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Pinocchio here, bringing you another decklist video. I know that I said I probably wouldn't have any videos up till Tuesday or Wednesday because I am very swamped with homework, and I'm actually taking a break from my homework right now to make this video. But tomorrow I have labs and stuff after classes, it turns out, until probably around 10 p.m. or something like that is when I'll probably get home. So I don't think that I'm going to be able to have a video up by tomorrow. I will definitely be pumping out a lot of content Wednesday, so I thought I'd go ahead and take a break from my homework and throw this decklist video up for you tonight. Also because on Wednesday I am going to be lending my Titanials to a buddy of mine for regionals, because he's running, you know, a Synchron deck or whatever. So, quick draw deck, there we go. So anywho, this is going to be my plant skill drain deck. Keep in mind, you know, this is one of my fun decks. I have a whole lot of decks and everything. It's a little bit more of a budget build than some people. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get into it. For the monsters, we're going to have 2 Titanial, Princess of Camillas. Some people in a lot of decks, like Quick Draw, only run 1 Titanial. I really think that that is a mistake. I really think 2 is needed for consistency. Yeah, like so many times I'll be dueling someone and they don't have a target for lone fire. So anyway, yeah, 2 Titanials, 3 Beast King Barbaros. Because if I didn't already say it, although I believe I just did, plant skill drain. So yeah, he's a 19 beat stick, normally 3000 beat stick with skill drain on the field, level 8 for trade in and all that good stuff. Next we have 1 Cyber Dragon, just because it's 21 beat stick, pretty easy to summon. I could run more. It's definitely a card that could be ran at 2 or 3. The problem is that this deck, my particular build, is very heavily consistent with field presence. You're usually going to have a Barbaros or a Titanial or something like a Nibblebunga or something on the field. So Cyber Dragon's effect is not the easiest to pull off, and you're going to want to go with consistency and trying to keep field presence. So you don't want to run more than 1 in my particular build. Next is 2 Winged Rhinos. This is a card you almost never ever see. It's a really, in my opinion, underrated card. It has 1800 attack, 500 defense. When a trap card is activated, you can turn this face-up card to your hand. 1800 attack. Now, why is this a good card? Well, everyone pretty much in this format is running 2 Bottomless and 2 or 3 Deep Prison. Torrential, Solemn Warning. So pretty much, if you summon a Winged Rhinos, they can either pay 2000 life points to negate the summon, which this is just one of your basic beaters, which means they're wasting it for, your big stuff, like they're not able to use it on your big stuff like Titanial and things like that, and Lone Fire. And if they opt not to use their counter trap, they're pretty much going to have to burn a regular trap. Like Bottomless, you can easily just bounce back. Deep Prison, you can bounce back. Torrential, you can bounce back. So he gives you field presence without much of a risk. If they, not much torrential potential, you can easily bounce him back. So he's a really great card to make it so you don't overextend, but you still contain field presence. And with skill drain, he's still an 18 beat stick. So, in my opinion, this is a really good card. I am considering taking 1 or 2 out for Mist Valley Falcon. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. Mist Valley Falcon is one of my new favorite cards from one of the newer sets, but let's just continue forth. So 2 Winged Rhinos, 1 Botanical Lion. With skill drain, it's only going to be a 1600 attack monster, but even though this is a plant skill drain deck, you're not always going to have skill drain out. In fact, a lot of times you don't. So yeah, he gains 300 attack for every plant monster you control. So by himself, he's a 19 beater. If you get one other plant monster, which is not very difficult, he becomes 21. Even with skill drain, you can set him for a 2000 defender. And yeah, overall he's a pretty good card. Gives you another target for Lone Fire in case your Titanials aren't around, etc. Next we've got 2 Lone Fire Blossom, of course because it's semi-limited. Amazing card, gets you your Titanials pretty much for free. Next we have kind of a tech for this deck, which is 3 Nibblebunga. The second tech, I suppose. This is a card that is also kind of underrated in my opinion. Really good card. When it's destroyed by battle, you gain 1000 life points, and you can special summon 2 more from your deck in face-down defense position, meaning that you're not going to take battle damage from them, unless they're like piercing you, which would really suck. But since Skill Drain does cost 1,000 life points to activate, and we're playing in a meta where people are paying off life points like crazy for Solemn Warnings and My Bodies and stuff like that, it definitely gives you a life point advantage, which is, after all, the overall goal of the match, is to eliminate your opponent's life points. So it's definitely going to help you with control. This deck is definitely a control kind of deck, and it'll give you that field presence, and plus, it'll help fuel your graveyard for Pot of Avarice, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. Next, we have Sangan. Gets you your Lone Fires primarily. If not, it could get you a lot of other things like Nimble Mamunga, Lord Poison, and things of that nature. Next, we have 2 Mystic Tomato. The only targets in the deck is the other Tomato and Sangan, which seems really risky. It seems kind of almost stupid in a way. But to be honest, not that many people like to attack into tomatoes. A lot of people will waste 1-for-1 destruction like smashing. A lot of people will try to make their bigger plays so they can start doing some synchro shenanigans to get rid of it without it being by battle. So in that way, he can work really well as a bait. Also, you can just, get out your other tomato, get your Sangan. Sangan dies, gets you something to your hand. So it's not like you're going to go negative unless you've already burned through your Sangan. But you're usually going to have support with tomato. Like, you're going to have a Cyber or a Titanial or a Barbaros. So he's just kind of extra damage to whittle your opponent down and keeps up your field presence. Next we have 1 Lord Poison. Destroyed by battle, get a plant type back from the graveyard like Titanial or Lone Fire. Really good card. Next we have 1 Exiled Force, just because tribute effects do still work with Skill Drain on the field. So if your opponent gets some nasty beater out and you're having trouble drawing into what you need, he's good 1-for-1 destruction, and all that good stuff. I don't know, just a pretty cool card. He's definitely like a card that could be taken out for something else along the lines of smashing or something like that, but it's good to have it in monster form just because you can summon it, you can get some attacks in while you have your back rows defending him, and then whenever you need to, you can tribute him off to get rid of a monster. So yeah, next we're going to go for the spells. First we have your draw power kind of spells. We have 2 trade-ins because you have 5 targets. Pretty common, no big deal, pretty easy to pull it off, all that good stuff. Next we have 2 Pot of Avarice, because you're running 3 Nimble Mamunga, you're running Lone Fire, which you can offer Lone Fire for itself, then for a Titanial. So you're really not going to have too much trouble with this deck getting 5 in the grave. You're also running 2 Tomatoes and a Sangan. Sangan can lead into both of the linking monsters, being Mamunga and Lone Fire. Next we have Reborn, Monster Reborn, and 1 Miracle Fertilizer. Both of these cards can be utilized to, get back your Titanial, get back your Lone Fire to pop off for your Titanial, etc. Miracle Fertilizer, this kind of relates back to something I was talking to earlier with Mist Valley Falcon. Mist Valley Falcon, if the monster is removed from the field, Miracle Fertilizer will be destroyed. But let's say you Miracle Fertilizer for a Titanial, summon Mist Valley Falcon attacks, returns Miracle Fertilizer to your hand. Your Titanial will not be destroyed. It will not be removed from the field. So you can return Miracle Fertilizer to your hand and keep the Titanial, which is a pretty cool concept and is something I might try to utilize in a second iteration of this deck. We'll see if I, work through some improvements or something, or a different build. It could also make use of cards like Giant Trunade. But next we have 2 Book of Moon. Just a really good control card, good to stop big plays like synchroing, good to stop, mind control shenanigans, kind of in the same, field there. Just stuff like that. Then we've got Monster Destruction. This is like our big field destruction. We have Dark Hole and Lightning Vortex. Dark Hole is obviously widespread as a staple, pretty much destroy all monsters on the field. Lightning Vortex, a card you don't really see run too much these days. I definitely do admit that cards like Starlight Road definitely fuck over, Lightning Vortex, fuck over a lot of the big field wipers. But just in case you do get a dead draw card like Trade-In or whatever, it's good just to have that sitting in your back pocket to punish overextending. Because a lot of times people will have to overextend to get past your Battle Searchers. So, Yeah, and then we've got 1 Smashing Ground, just some good 1-for-1 destruction, just stops the likes of Spirit Reaper and Marshmallow from annoying you, gets rid of annoying stuff like that. 1 MST, pretty much for the same reason, and just in case your opponent gets like a Gravity Bind or Level Limit Area B or something wacky like that, you just want to have it out. You want to have something that can deal with it. MST could really be run at 2, but this deck's a little bit more control, and people are setting a lot more these days, so 1-for-1 spot destruction isn't as good because you're kind of just picking randomly. Now on to the traps. The traps for this deck are a little unconventional, but I really find that it works, especially considering that this is a bit more of a budget build. But we've got 2 Bottomless. Those are staple. Just stops things like Breaker or Caius. Obviously Caius' effect would still go off, but stops Synchros and annoying stuff. 1 Torrential, pretty much the same thing, staple. People have to overextend a lot to get past your crap. They might, like, I don't know, overextend to destroy your tomatoes, then you get out your Sangan, next turn summon Winged Rhinos, Torrential, chain Winged Rhinos' effect, Sangan's destroyed, and their like 3 monsters are destroyed, and you know, you go +1, or +2, something like that. So, then we've got 2 Skill Drains. Skill Drain pays 1,000 life points and negates the effect of all face-up monsters in the field. Keep in mind this does not negate stuff in the graveyard, like Necrogardna, Mizuki, things of that nature, but it does stop things like Caius, Stratos, X-Saber Erebellum, X-Saber Fullhelm Knight, X-Saber Hyunlei, Sirocco, Shura, all that kind of stuff. So, really good card. A lot of the basis of the deck, because most of your effects like Titanial and Lone Fire and Exiled Force are all still going to work, although Titanial's won't work if you're not tributing herself, so keep that in mind. Then we've got 1 Black Horn of Heaven. Just because people synchro a lot this format, like a lot, ridiculously a lot, it stops a lot of cocky people when they're about to Black Rose you. It doesn't require you to pay life points like Solemn Warning, and this deck has big monsters that can handle most summons that are not inherent special summons or whatever anyway, so pretty good card. Stops synchros, that's pretty much the gist of it. Stops Dark Arm Dragon, stops Judgment Dragon, things like that too. Stops Cyber Dragon, things that summon themselves. It does not stop Monster Reborn and Call the Haunted, stuff like that. Stuff that summons by a separate card effect. So yeah, next we have Trap Dust Shoot, just because this deck is kind of slow moving sometimes. You set up with, you know, your Lone Fires, you pull your Titanial out, and you slowly whittle them down, slowly attack them. Sometimes you set your Momungas and have them sitting there for 2 turns while your opponent does like some stally, whatever. It's just a good control card, because people will get hands stocked up against this deck. Lets you see what your opponent's doing, lets you, you know, be able to make more educated plays when you need to make your big push, etc. Then we got Magic Drain. 1 Magic Drain just slows your opponent down, forces them to use up more of their spell cards to accomplish what they need to do, slows down their engines if they're running a deck that, you know, has an engine, makes them make more weighted decisions about what they really need, and it can be a big tell sometimes. So it's definitely a good card, underrated card again in my opinion. You know, probably would run something like Solemn in this card's place, but like I said, this deck's a little bit of a budget build because it's not even in my top like 5 decks. So, and then lastly, 1 Call the Haunted. Get back your Titanials, get back your Lone Fires, etc. So, hope that you guys really enjoyed this deck. I definitely enjoy playing with it. It doesn't run Mirror Force, it doesn't run Deep Prisons. Obviously, it should probably run at least Mirror Force, but it's still a really good deck. And even though, like I said, it's a little bit budget, it definitely keeps up with some of the better decks. I've played it against a lot of people, and I think you'd really be surprised. So, if you're someone that, I mean, obviously Mirror Force is a common now, so you could pick that up. But if you're someone that doesn't have Solemns and like a million Deep Prisons and stuff, it's definitely a pretty fun deck. Titanials are probably going to skyrocket in price, though, which is unfortunate. But that's about it for this deck, guys. Hope you really enjoyed, and this is me. Peace out.